critical race theory. So you guys know what critical race theory is? Basically, critical race theory is the examination of the law in the legal system and how it intersects with race. It's a college course that's taught in law school. But conservatives, you know, they have very unpopular policies. They get destroyed by any policy issues. They have nothing. So they have to have something to make people vote against their own best interest. They have to come up with boogeymen to scare the white, racist, cracker motherfuckers who support them and a few black tokens who throw themselves in with it because they get rewarded for it. And so this is their new boogeyman. It's either trans people or woke mob or cancel culture. Now it's critical race theory, which basically to them is any mention of our racist past whatsoever. Any talk of the history of racism, the cruelty and oppression of minorities and black people, any of that, it's all critical race theory to them. They throw it all into the same giant pool because they want it to where if anybody tries to talk about racism and systemic racism, the incredibly racist past our country's had and how it still exists today and still affects people today, they want to say, oh, that's CRT, and they want to scare everybody with it. So I got to scare you with something. And critical race theory is their new boogeyman. Oh, so scary. They're all in the same playbook, too. It's interesting. Like, 1 week, they're all on the cancel culture narrative. And so that's all you fucking hear. And the next week, they do their research. They do their focus groups. They realize, oh, my God, hey, critical race theory is working really well against the white assholes that support us. We should push that narrative more. So this week, it's all about fear of critical race theory, which isn't taught in any like junior high or high school. It's a college course, right? Not taught anywhere except for colleges. Just teaching about racism is not critical race theory. Just telling about the racist past of America is not critical race theory. But they got to lump it all in together. So they have a new hero in conservative circles against critical race theory. They're a fucking champion. They have this one guy who is the master fucking expert about critical race theory. A conservative genius who can destroy anybody on this topic. And they push this guy out there as their weapon against anybody who would want to push critical race theory. And this conservative hero's name, James Lindsay. This guy. This is their hero, folks. Want to talk about beyond parody. Look at this loser motherfucker. He put these videos out himself, folks. Look at this. This is their critical race theory champion. Could you be slower? Holy shit, dude. Just sad. Sad. Conservatives not sitting their best. So, just so you don't think I'm making this up, that he is their new critical race theory champion, that he is considered an expert, and the dude literally knows nothing about critical race theory. He's simply some dork on Twitter. But conservatives need somebody to cart out and show as their expert who's willing to lie his ass off about what critical race theory is and push their talking points that literally, no matter how embarrassing the people they push out are, they will still platform them. So here he is on PragerU and them championing him as the anti-critical race theory hero. And this clip has so much to unpack here, I'm going to stop and do so, but let's watch.
How concerned they should be is extremely, like on a scale of 1 to 10, 12.
That's right, folks. You should be 12 on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm not being hyperbolic at all. You should be so afraid of critical race theory, the college legal course that examines race and law. You should freak out about it.
Social justice, white privilege, anti-racism. Are you hearing these buzzwords all the time?
Yes, from you. I'm continuously hearing it from conservatives. It's like, have you heard us say this all the time? Are you starting to freak out that we're saying it all the time? No. I'm amused by your stupidity.
In America today, what do they all have in common? Do they all trace back to something similar? What if I told you they do? And it's called critical theory, better known as wokeism.
What? Critical theory, also known as wokeism? Yeah, by you. Just make shit up, dude.
I'm Taylor Trandall with PragerU, and joining us today is one of the world's foremost experts on critical theory or the wokeism movement.
World's foremost experts, folks. Keep that in mind. Expert in the conservative community on this subject.
He's also one of the world's foremost critics of it, and his name is James Lindsay. James, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I saw the other day that Richard Dawkins gave you a shout out on Twitter and endorsed your book.
All right, first off, so sad to see how far Richard Dawkins has fallen. Richard Dawkins literally called this guy a hero. Richard Dawkins so butthurt that people dared call him out for transphobic and stupid tweets that his ego just would not allow him to admit to himself that he's wrong. So he's literally willing to throw his hat in with these racist asshats, these Christian nationalists, in order to attack the left, so he doesn't have to examine his own behavior and his own stupidity. Sad as fuck, Richard Dawkins. They're actually using you as a tool against the left now. Shame.
Cynical Theories, which people should check out. But then, a few weeks ago, you were on Ali Stuckey, a conservative Christian, her podcast. So there's this strange confluence of, conservative Christians and, legendary atheist, new atheist intellectuals.
There's not a strange confluence in any way. Racist of a feather flock together. Doesn't matter if you're an atheist racist or a Christian racist. Yeah, you find commonality from racism. That's what's really important to these motherfuckers is, oh my God, I'm white. I don't want to be made to feel bad about the history of racism in this country, so we'll just join together with Christian nationalists. Why not?
Are finding, what's that common ground that they're finding today that you seem to be in the center of?
Reality.
Reality, yeah. That's what it is. People who are against critical race theory and Christians, we're all in this because we believe in reality. Isn't that real life?
It's the pursuit of objective truth. And so I know a lot of people who are watching or listening who are atheists are going to say, you just said objective truth in Christianity. But the thing is whether you believe the Christian framework or not, the Christians believe they are pursuing objective truth.
Yes, so does every cult member. So does Islam. So does Scientology. Just because they think they are searching for objective truth doesn't mean they are. Doesn't mean they found it. Doesn't mean they aren't stupid as shit in every goddamn possible way. Just means they're entirely fucking delusional. Like you.
They believe there is an objective truth worth pursuing, that everything's not subjective. Mm-hmm. And they ground that in scripture, and they try to get to that through exegesis, which is a rigorous methodology.
No, Christianity is not a rigorous methodology in any fucking possible way. It's literally believing in ancient fairy tales written by primitive sheep herders and pretending it's true. There's no rigor whatsoever. So what happens when you cart this super genius on critical race theory on a show with a professor who knows what the fuck he's talking about? And the answer is poetry. Beautiful fucking poetry happens. All right, warning, you're about to see murder. You're about to see James Lindsay murdered on national television. Brace yourself.
So actually, we don't have agency under critical race theory.
All right, first off, false. How is examining the law and how it intersects with racism in any way taking away your agency? He's just saying fucking buzzwords. Just ridiculous.
Any of its philosophical antecedents.
That's correct.
They claim that you
I wish we had more time to unpack
your critical theorist, which is an incredible irony because you actually have to sacrifice all of your agency to think otherwise.
He keeps repeating this, but it has nothing to do with that because that's all he's got. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't actually know what critical race theory is, so he's got to pretend like somehow it has something to do with not having any agency.
How it chills freedom of thought and freedom of speech because you have to be critically conscious or else you have false consciousness and are therefore not acting out yourself. You have no actual agency.
Of course, we're running out of time, but I'm going to respond just so the audience and the people who watch us on clips don't think that I don't have a response. First of all,
Sure.
Your counter is predicated on the idea that there's a one-to-one relationship between critical race theory and critical theory as sort of produced from the Marxist tradition, from the Frankfurt School, etc., when in fact, critical race theory has certainly connections to any kind of critical intellectual discourse, but it's also connected to critical legal studies, which was not committed to sort of inheriting all of the kind of Gramscian and Marxian sort of ideas that you're talking about. And again, even the type of Marxism you're talking about is a very narrow, thin, sort of crude Marxism, or even what we call vulgar Marxism, which alleges a relationship between economic base and cultural superstructure that is one-to-one, when in fact, what most Marxists have argued, and what certainly most Marxists post the mid part of the 20th century have argued, is that it's a much more complicated dynamic that even Gramsci himself argues at in the prison notebooks about this idea of hegemony and how it happens along a compromise equilibrium, whereby some people, or whereby on the one hand we absolutely are hostage to the economic conditions around us, but on the other hand, structures and states and institutions also appeal to our own desires and our own interests and our own needs. It's a much more dynamic and complicated relationship than you're talking about. And as far as sort of structures that
Look at his face. Look at his face, man. He getting owned and he knows that he's about to go, wow, you know a lot about this. Yeah, imagine that. Imagine actually being an expert in a subject matter and not just pretending you are.
Again, you're making a connection between structures in terms of institutional structures that I was talking about and the particular type of structures that, say, a Saussure would be talking about in terms of structuralism. That's not actually what I was talking about. And that's not what most people are talking about when they talk about systems and structures. Again, that's a very tight correlation you draw. And if we were to accept that correlation, then sure. But it's not only that we're not accepting it, it's actually not what we're talking about. And postmodernism, again, plays upon a range of things. I'm sorry?
I said you know a lot about this, actually. That you know a very large amount about this.
Yeah, I'm a professor. I studied it. I'm not just bullshitting. I know a lot about it. So, Mert, that was hilarious. One of the most beautiful thing I've seen all week. But of course, folks, James Lindsay went public claiming he did not lose this debate. Look how sad these people are. Tell me you got murked in a debate without telling me you got murked. Look at his face. And he's like, I saw his showboating at the end as a confession that he's a communist. What we call vulgar Marxism. Who is we? Never interrupt your opponent when he's embarrassing himself. Oh, yeah, I was winning. He embarrassed himself. If I share the camera while I talk, my brain turns off. Just sad, dude. You got fucking owned and it's sad, but it doesn't matter. He'll still be carded out as an expert on critical race theory by conservatives because all they have is fucking lies. They have to scare you. And this tweet from him has not aged well at all. No, the woke won't debate you. Here's why. Looks like a good time to share this important essay again. Yeah, remember when I said the woke won't debate me? Yeah, they will. They will not only debate you, they will murder you on live television. They will skin your carcass and leave it out in the open as an example to every other motherfucker not to come around with their bullshit. James Lindsay, you have been made an example out of. You have been tried and found wanting. And I love the Roots take on this. Black News Channel broadcast heinous double murder on live television. Warning! This story contains the graphic deaths of 2 professors who were ambushed by a violent gang of facts. So, yeah. Nailed it.